What is up, guys? Today we are doing the 100th video on this channel and also doing US-66 because this is 100th anniversary. Pretty cool, right? Anyways, let's get started. Just a reminder that you have 2 free requests for every video, so use them. Route 66 is about 2,448 miles and it runs from Chicago, Illinois to Santa Monica, California. And we're going to be doing eastbound and westbound one video. Hopefully I can export this on CapCut. Here's my personal picture of the beginning Route 66 sign. I didn't get the end sign on for the other direction sadly, but that's fine. Also, I would have taken more pictures of the I-90 and I-94 if I wasn't such a wuss for not taking pictures in an Uber. But yeah, sorry. First we meet I-90 and I-94 with no control cities and just westbound I-90 and I-94. Here we make a left turn on the Ogden Avenue. Next we meet a road that will take you to I-290. We meet Illinois 50 as Cicero Avenue. Here we meet the beginning of US 34 and Illinois 43. We join Illinois 43. Then we leave Illinois 43 at this light. We meet Illinois 171, which goes to I-55. As we slowly leave the Chicago Metro, we meet US 12, 20, and 45. Next we meet I-294, and then we come curve I-55. Here we meet I-355, which is signed for the suburbs, which is very broad lane. And then we also get this indication sign that we're at the thing on Joliet Road. Next we join Illinois 53 for a bit as we enter Joliet. Then Illinois 7 joins the party. And of course it leaves us. In the downtown Joliet area we meet US 30 and US 6. US 6 would join us, starting a pretty strong concurrency. Here as US 6 leaves us, US 52 joins us. Here we meet I-80, which is signed for Moline, Rock Island, and Gary, Indiana. Here US 52 leaves us and we get a sign for Wilmington. Here in Wilmington we see a little banner for Route 66, and also for some reason the turn arrow on the ground there looks like it was made by duct tape. I guess it's temporary, I don't know. Finally we get a mileage sign here for Braywood and Dwight. I'm kind of getting office vibes here. We meet Illinois 113 in Braywood and it goes to Illinois 129 as you can see in the background. Here we enter a place called Gardner and we leave Illinois 53 finally. Here we see some more US 66 attractions. Skipping a little segment here in Gardner, we make a left turn. Here we get a mileage sign for Dwight and Pontiac as we become a frontage road for I-55. Then we become a frontage road for I-55, you guessed it. Here we meet Illinois 17 and Dwight and we get a mileage sign for Odell and Pontiac. Here we get a mileage sign for Genoa and Normal. I guess the sign seems normal to me. Here in Genoa we meet US 24 and it's sign for El Paso. Didn't know Texas was here. Here we have 2 alignments. We're gonna keep straight here on the 1930 to 77 one. Todd had this issue when he was doing US 66, but right now I'm probably just gonna follow his routing. Here we meet an alignment for Dead Man's Curve, originally Route 66, but we're gonna keep straight here and head to Normal, aka the suburb of Leamington. Here in Normal we make a left turn. Here at this light we make a left turn, join US 51 Business. Here at this light we meet US 150 and Illinois 9, and US 51 Business is an interesting shield. The end is for its like historical meaning. I think it's a former alignment of US 51, but anyways, let's move on. As we leave US 51 Business, apparently GDOT has joined the squad by putting that shield there. Next we join I-55 Business and get signed for St. Louis. Here's where we leave I-55 Business. After crossing the bridge over I-74 and I-55, we make a left turn and head south alongside just I-55 and become a frontage road. Here we have a brief concurrency with US 136. As we meet I-55, we become concurrent with its business route through Lincoln. Here I-55 Business leaves us and we also have some more segments here. We're going to keep straight. Then I-55 Business joins us again. Then we leave it to become a frontage road. And now we enter the capital of Illinois, Springfield. And here we pass in front of the Illinois Capitol building with a great view, looking nice with the blue sky and all that. As we navigate through Springfield, I find this beautiful mileage sign for Chicago, and Clinton. I just thought I'd mention that because it's in the other direction, yeah, but I don't think I'm planning to do the other direction for this video. It's probably going to be sometime later on in my journey. But yeah, I'll show you. We leave Springfield and we enter the famous brick road for a little bit, so that's really cool. I'd like to drive on this someday. And then here's a curve here, and right here it looks a lot more rigid and bumpy, like South Carolina's roads. As we get this I-55 junction sign, we make a right. We were actually concurrent with Illinois Route 4, but I didn't really show it. Here we enter a town called Hamel, and Illinois 157 begins as we meet Illinois 140, and it is concurrent with us. Illinois 157 is concurrent with us, sorry. Then we pass by this cool Illinois 66 sign, and honestly, I could see sunglasses being made out of this route number. Here we pass by Illinois 143 in downtown Edwardsville, and it looks very nice, doesn't it? Then we split from Illinois Route 157 at this light. Here we pass over I-255 and or Illinois 255. Here we meet I-270 and just like a double interchange here, so we'll become concurrent with it to the other side of the train tracks and exit it and continue on the Chain of Rocks Road. Now we enter an undrivable area, lucky to find street view here, and we cross over the Mississippi River. Switch on to the signed area with I-270. We leave it as we see the Missouri welcome sign, and we will make a left and avoid the 1936 road. Here we pass under I-44 and 55, and we also get a 2 US-40 and I-64 sign here. We meet Missouri 366 and join it. We were also concurrent Missouri 30, but I didn't really acknowledge it. I was struggling to navigate through the city already, so yeah, bear with me. Anyways, let's continue on. Next we meet US-61, US-50, and US-67. As we join I-44 and US-50, Missouri 366 ends. Then we exit I-44 and meet its business route. Here we're joining Missouri 100 as we pass right by I-44 and its business route ends. Interestingly enough, we have a blue shield, and also there's a little shield in the background, but you know what, actually let's go on I-44, screw it. Here I'm pretty sure we can become concurrent with US-63 as we leave I-44. So we left US-63, I didn't know exactly where, so I just skipped to here. And we joined Missouri 72, where it ends here at I-44. We'll be making a left onto a frontage road. Here we meet US-65, a powerful junction here. Here we meet the business routes of US-65 and I-44. We will be joining US-65 business. Here's where we leave US-65 business. Here we're on St. Louis Street, and here's a look at downtown Springfield, Missouri. Here we make a left at this light going onto I-44 business as we leave Springfield. We meet US-160 here, and we get signed for I-44 west from 2 miles away, and US-160 has US-60 and I-44 east for some reason. This sign has definitely seen better days. Here we meet I-44 and Missouri 266. I-44 is signed for Joplin and Rolla, and they're both big control cities, I'll be honest with you, but that'll be for another video or something. And we'll be following Missouri 266. And I say we're following Missouri 266 because US-66 just goes to I-44, and I don't want to show that boring part, so we'll follow it. Anyways, we meet County Route T in the country. I thought this was a nice spot to show. Actually, was it concurrent with Missouri 266? I don't even know, dude. I'm just winging it, but this is still a good option. Anyways, we meet Missouri 96 and keep straight on this curve. Then we meet Missouri 96 directly and become concurrent with it. Here we meet Missouri 571, and we're going to leave Missouri 96 to join it. And we're going to skip this concurrency because it's not really that important. Next we pass over Interstate 49 with a good view. Here we meet I-49 business, which is kind of like I-85 business in Spartanburg with the freeway stuff. And we also meet Missouri 171. They're signed for Webb City and Carthage, which was where we just entered. And I didn't mention US-71, but Missouri 171 may be related to it, maybe a former spur or something, but I don't know. We actually parallel I-49 business into Webb City, and then we join it when it becomes a grade street. Well, this is a weird situation. We are meeting Missouri Route 66 and also I-44 business, of course. And we're going to be joining it actually, so this might be a little confusing. That's probably confusing drivers, I bet. Here we enter Joplin, which is one of I-44's previous control cities when we met it. and we get this random reassurance shield for I-44 business at this light. Skipping the I-44 business split, we enter Kansas, and Missouri 66 becomes Kansas 66. And I've learned these routes are to dedicate US-66, so I guess that's valid, but still a little confusing. At the same time, it'll be really helpful for me. Here we first enter the town of Galena, and we meet Kansas 26, and we can actually see Kansas 66 is actually well signed with its reassurance shield, not control cities because it's not around, but you get the point. Here at this roundabout of US 400, we get a nice attraction here for a US-66 sign for Kansas, so that's cool. Here we join US 400 and US 69 all after paralleling it for a little bit near Baxter Springs, and we also get this cool shield for a bike route. Here deeper in the Baxter Springs, we meet US 166, which is a live route still, so that's cool. And now we leave Kansas and enter Oklahoma with no signs from what I see. We also become Oklahoma 66 right here, I think. US 69 all ends, and we join mainline US 69. Here US 59 joins us, which starts a pretty powerful concurrency. Here we meet I-44, which is signed for Tulsa and Joplin. And as we pass by this interchange, US 60 actually joins us, forming two powerful concurrencies, because US 60 and US 59, and then US 59 and US 69. Shortly after, though, US 59 leaves us. As we enter Vanilla, we meet I-44 again, which has this turnpike entrance sign. Here we make a left where we meet Oklahoma 2, and we actually get an Oklahoma State Route 6 sign, so that'll make life easier for me navigating this route. US 69 leaves us here to go Pryor. Here's where US 60 then leaves us, and we get mileage time for Chelsea and Tulsa. Here we meet Oklahoma 266, which probably has a relation to our route here. And then we also got an I-44 sign in the background for the turnpike of Oklahoma. And we also get this reassurance shield with both of the 66s on it, so that's cool. Here you can see some small stop signs from our construction site as we merge onto I-44 and US 412. Here we meet I-244 and US 412 splits from us. They both are signed for Sand Springs and Enid, while we are signed for Salpopa and Oklahoma City. Next we meet US 169, which has Broken Arrow and Owasso. Here we meet US 64 and Oklahoma 51, which are signed for Broken Arrow, Muskogee, and Tulsa. Next we meet US 75, which is signed for Ocmulgee and Bartlesville. We meet Oklahoma 344, which is a semi-child of I-44 and is signed for Gilcrease Expressway, and I-244 goes to downtown, and also we are still signed for Salpopa and Oklahoma City, which is good. Here we split from I-44 and get signed for Salpopa and Bristow, which is really good. As we pass through Salpopa, we meet US 75 alternate and Oklahoma 97. We can see Oklahoma 16 and Oklahoma 48 as we go through Bristow and make a right. Here we meet Oklahoma 99 US 377, pretty strong junction here, and this is in the town of Stroud. At this flashing beacon signal, we meet US 177. And of course, we can't forget I-44 here. As we enter the burbs of Oklahoma City, we meet I-35, which is signed for Wichita, and US 77 will be joining us, forming a pretty strong concurrency here. We meet the Kilpatrick Turnpike, aka I-344 according to Google Maps. Here we leave US 77 as it meets I-235, and we join I-44 westbound, which is signed for Lawton. That should be Amarillo, no questions asked. Here's where we leave I-44 as it gets a new line for Amarillo, thank goodness, and we get War Acres and Bethany. Here's Interstate 344 again. Skipping ahead a little bit, we join US 81 and now we're paralleling I-40. Here we leave US 81 and turn left, and you can see the I-40 business shields with miscolored labeling signs for some reason. Here we make a right turn onto a frontage road for I-40. And also, if you haven't noticed yet, the Oklahoma 66 sign just gone, we're going back to our normal signs. Here at the slash and stop sign, we meet US 270. Here we make a right turn on US 281 spur, and we have a sign for Gary. Now we join the real deal US 281 along Oklahoma 8 near Gary. Here's where we split from US 281 and Oklahoma 8. We'll go straight off of this curve, and you can see a little tiny sign below US 281 and Oklahoma 8 here. Here we pass by this beautiful spot as we merge into I-40 westbound. When we leave I-40 to Becoming furniture again, we immediately meet Oklahoma 54, which is signed for Weatherford and Thomas, which kind of backtracks to where we were. Here in the town of Clinton, we meet US 183. We join I-40 again. Then we leave I-40 in Elk City, and we will of course be joining a business route, and also meeting Oklahoma 34. Skipping to the next business route of I-40, we have a short concurrency of US 283 and then continue on our way. And now we enter the state of Texas. The road change is insane right here. Here we meet US 83 in our first town in Texas, aka Shamrock. Skipping all the way to Amarillo, we reunite with US-60 and make a left. US-60 leaves us as we meet US 287 and its parent, US-87. And now we enter the wilderness, aka the middle of nowhere of I-40. We leave I-40 very briefly to meet US 385 in Vega, Texas. Here at exit 0, we leave I-40, and of course there's a business route with us, and we are signed for Glenrio. And now we enter New Mexico. This does not look promising already. We enter the city of Tucumari, and at this light we meet US 54. And hello again, I-40. And we're also joining US 54, so reuniting with it basically. We leave I-40, which has no control cities for some reason, and we follow US 54 onto US 84, and we are heading into Santa Rosa. Here's where we join US 84 as US 54 leaves us, and we are signed for Albuquerque. Here's where US 84 leaves us. Yes, we joined I-40 again, so just suspect that randomly without me announcing it. US 84 leaves us to go to Las Vegas, and that's some good signage right there, so good stuff there, New Mexico. Here we meet US 285, which is signed for Vahan and Santa Fe. Here we enter Albuquerque and leave I-40, and then we meet I-25. Then we hop back on Interstate 40. We're just gonna kind of hop through Albuquerque here, so yeah, let's move on. Here we meet US 491, but has no shield for some reason here, and Gallup, and this is also known as former US-66. After being in the middle of nowhere for a while, and still being in the middle of nowhere, we enter Arizona. Here we meet US 191, and it will join us here. Next, US 191 leaves us to go to Ganado. Next, we meet US 180 and Arizona 77. We'll be joining US 180 and Holbrook. When we re-enter I-40, we see Flagstaff, and also US 180 will follow us. Step area, you can see where we meet US 89. Here we pass by this pretty popular sign. It has a lot of stuff here, so I-40, I-17, I-40 again, 2 US 89, and the US 180 split, and then a sign for Phoenix and Los Angeles, which is really cool. And then the other way is page in Albuquerque, which is also still really cool. But yeah. And I also love the US-66 shield here. Here off of I-40 and Kingman, we can see this very nice outline of the historical shield of US-66 and also Arizona 66's sign designating us. As we become a furniture again, we get this cool back road sign for US-66 for Mohave County, and we also get a one-liner for Oatman. Here we join I-40 again, skipping Oatman. And now we cross the Colorado River into California. We enter our first town, which is called Needles, right by the Arizona line, and we meet US 95. Sorry, have it, and it is signed for Blip. At the end of the I-40 concurrency of US 95, it goes to Searchlight in Las Vegas. Here we leave off of the last exit of I-40 before it ends, and we will have a small concurrency of I-15 business, which I won't show. As we enter the Victorville area, we meet Interstate 15. Skipping ahead a bit, we head under I-15 and I-215 in San Bernardino. Here is Interstate 15 again. When we meet California 210, we can see that we're signed as California 66 off of it. Also is a designation of US-66. Here we meet I-210 instead of California 210 this time, and it goes to Pasadena. Here in Arcadia, we pass under this very cool bridge that goes over the signalized intersection here. Here we become concurrent California 110, which is also I-110 technically, just the semi-child. And we meet US 101 and Interstate 5. As we get another sign for US 101, we leave California 110 onto Sunset Boulevard. The next freeway we meet is Interstate 405. And finally, US 66 ends here at I-10. What a journey. That was so hard to navigate. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. US-66, it was hard to navigate. If you want to see a good overview of it, I would recommend checking out Control City Freaks video. And all I gotta say is I'm done with this route. I'm glad to have it over with. And yeah, I'll see you on the child routes.